Thank you very much, Mr. Parliament Speaker. Thank you, Mr. Mohammed Ahsan. He said he would speak in Kurdish, but he went on in Arabic. I would like to know the vision and the opinion of the Kurdistan region. Iraqi leaders introduced their views. So now to know the views of the Kurdish region about the challenges facing the region, we would like to ask Mr. President Nechirvan Barzani to come to the floor, and Mr. Ziryan Rojhelati, the president of Rudaw Research Center, to have a panel. Thank you very much.
چون اما توزيك زعبه ام صوتي اما شلون زعبه
قال فولوم الثانيه او فولوم او زائد
دست خوش
سيدو ماكسيموم
طبعا طبعا یک دو سه تست English translation test, 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 English translation test. Mr. President Nechirvan Barzani, the President of Kurdistan, thank you very much for this interview. So we heard the Iraqi parliament speaker who said that everyone was like to see you in Baghdad, and I think everyone in this hall is very happy to hear your ideas, especially at this moment when the area and the region, Iraq and Kurdistan, is going through a very sensitive era. I have had an introduction, but I'm not going to read it, not to make it long. Maybe a question which most of the people is curious about it is the question when the government, the cabinet is going to be formed in Kurdistan region. Well, right now, as we are sitting here in Erbil, PUK and KDP delegations are conducting dialogues on the formation of the next cabinet of the KRG. We could ask, it's been a little bit long, but what we think is that we should provide enough time for the formation of the cabinet. KDP and the PUK right now is in a process of dialogue and communication and conversation on deciding on the principles and put it inside in the framework of an agreement which will be or which will form the base of the formation of the KRG's new cabinet. This is on on one side. On another side, the KRI last year conducted a very successful election. The participation rate in the election was 72%. That's why we should thank the people of Kurdistan that felt responsible in this election. And at the same time, it's also a responsibility for the PUK and for the KDP, especially KDP and PUK as the two winner parties, winner number one and winner number two, that they should be very serious to form a government which will provide hope for the people of Kurdistan with all of its components. These conversations and negotiations, even if it's long, eventually, if we see that there's going to be a government formed which has the trust of the people of Kurdistan, it's okay to accept that delay. On the other hand, in October there is going to be another election in Iraq. Do you think that the elections in Iraq may have a negative impact on the formation of the cabinet in Kurdistan? In my opinion, we should not mix up between the two. What we did in Kurdistan, the election in Kurdistan, I should thank the support of Baghdad in it. I should thank the Prime Minister, the Speaker of Parliament and the Iraqi Parliament, and also we should thank the Federal Court of Iraq and also the President of Iraq, who all supported us in our process of the election last year and the success of the election. So the election of Kurdistan and formation of the KRI cabinet is different, and the election in Iraq is different. What the people of Kurdistan is waiting for is that the KRI's government cabinet should form much earlier than the elections in Iraq, because like when the people of Kurdistan, 72% of them participated in the election and provided the trust to the parties, this should make the parties act very fast and form the cabinet. You mentioned that it may not take much more long time, but also you mentioned that the PUK and KDP should have more negotiations. Will this lead to a new strategic agreement between KDP and PUK? Well, when we look at the strategic agreement between the KDP and PUK, during that era when KDP and PUK had a strategic agreement, at that time we had a huge development economically and politically in Kurdistan, and this was because of the strategic agreement we had with the PUK. Well, right now we cannot name this one as a strategic agreement, but it's going to be a right strategy for how to govern Kurdistan and how to resolve the problems in both politically and in terms of administration, how we can agree on them and put a framework for them. Well, we as the journalists sometimes we're curious. But don't do it with like Dr. Muhammad Ihsan. Dr. Muhammad, he, and also the Speaker of Parliament, he he proved that Iraq is democratic. So my question is, the government is going to be formed by KDP or PUK, or others are also going to be involved in the formation of the cabinet, or are they going to be opposition? Well, let me tell you this. KDP and PUK tried their best with all parties. KDP, PUK tried to form the cabinet without KDP with the other parties. But what we are planning to do is to have the other components as well to join us, KDP and PUK. But right now, the main two parties who's gonna be forming the cabinet is KDP and PUK. Asking about the regional developments, we saw what happened in Syria as a transformation in the whole region, and this looks like can have a impact on the Kurds in general and also in the KRI. Do you think that it's a better idea to have, as the president of Kurdistan, to have negotiation with all parties other than the PUK? So basically, we have communication with all the political parties. It's true that we have not had a meeting with everyone on the same table, but we are communicating with all political parties, and all of the parties in Kurdistan region. They are here to talk about the developments in Syria and in the region. Well, let me explain it this way. Basically, the problems, the issues between Baghdad and Erbil. What is the issue? Let's not even talk about the governments. Let's talk about Baghdad and Erbil. The main issue we have, there is a federal system in Iraq, but is it practically like this? That's the question. Well, what happens in Iraq is everything but not federalism. There is a central system in Iraq. It's a centralism. And that's the problem. When Baghdad looks to Hawler, to Erbil, Baghdad thinks that Erbil is not a federal system. They look at Erbil as a country, a sovereign country and member of the United Nations. And when Erbil looks at Baghdad from Hawler, from Erbil, when you look at Baghdad, you see that it's a central system. In any federal country, there is no such a system. This is the reality. It's been many times I have visited Baghdad. When I meet them, especially with our partners in Baghdad, we talk about this. Let's come together and write down a definition for federal system in this country. If we can solve those problems, this is going to provide stability, political stability for Iraq as well. The problems you see today between us and Baghdad, it's because of the distribution of the powers. Who has the power? Maybe we have some activities which are more than federalism, but also what they do is very centralistic. We should come together with them and we have to conduct this dialogue. This dialogue is the key to the solution of the situation in Iraq. The courts in Iraq, we speak with them about the legal system in the country. So there were people who told us that you should not meet them, but when I met them, I saw more horizons, especially about the idea of working together. When I met the Supreme Court of the Federal Supreme Court of Iraq, and I invited them to conduct one of their meetings in Erbil, because Erbil is also part of Iraq. Please come here and help us how to define federalism. Give us the definition for this. So if we can solve this, and no day we're not gonna see if they are providing the funds to the salaries of the people. It's all about the system. What we have in Iraq is named as federalism, but in content it's not federalism. So he accepted the invitation to come to Erbil, yes. our relationship with them in presidency is very good, and they accepted our so the Supreme Judicial Council and also the Supreme Court of Iraq accepted our invitation. Talking about the oil exports of Kurdistan, is there any horizon for resuming the oil exports? Well, what is related to Turkey? Turkey has always mentioned that they are ready to resume or restart the oil export of Kurdistan to Ceyhan port. First of all, let me tell you this: the topic related to the exploitation of the oil of the KRI. To us, oil is an item, is a economic item. We don't look at it as a political thing. So look at it since the time. Look at the members of the Iraqi parliament who have not voted for the law. We see that Iraq has lost around 19 to 20 billion dollars because of this. This is a huge money for Iraq. So we are very happy that when we met the Prime Minister of Iraq, and also I'd like to thank the Speaker of the Iraqi Parliament, and he also insists on this, that this law should be, or this basically amendment to the law should pass through the House as soon as possible. So what is left right now is the technical part. Turkey is ready. Iraqi side is ready. There are a bit of technical issues. So basically the monies for the companies, how it's going to be paid. But these are technical issues. In principle, we have agreed, and we're expecting that in a very short time, KRI's oil will be exported again. What about the role of US and Russia? Yes, the US as a main partner, and the role of the United States is like they encourage for the resolution of this issue as soon as possible, because some of these companies are American companies. That's why the US has worked a lot. You mentioned Russia. Yes, Russia is also part of this, because some of the companies working in the KRI are Russian companies, but the US as a main partner of Iraq and the Kurdistan region has played a role to encourage both sides, Baghdad and Erbil, to and also Ankara, to resume the oil export and resolve this problem as soon as possible. Well, the topic related to salaries, the Speaker of Parliament, His Excellency, we had a meeting with the coalition, the Iraqi coalition, and we were there, and His Excellency, he was very frank, the Speaker of Parliament. He said that the issue related to the salaries, please solve it. The ruling by the Supreme Federal Court of Iraq is very clear. The federal court says the issue of salaries of people should be separated from the political issues between KRI and Baghdad. I had a meeting with the Prime Minister and the president of the court, the federal court. He was very clear about this, that he said it should not be a political issue. And I am sure that the Iraqi Prime Minister, whatever he has been able to do, he has done his best to make sure the salaries are being sent. There are some responsibilities on the KRI government, and as the KRI president, I can tell you that the KRI government has been very transparent in taking the responsibilities. We want to make this change. We don't want the topic of budget be our agenda, or the top of our topics to speak with Iraq. Look, we have the Article 140, we have the article related to Peshmerga. We should talk about these. We are partners in Iraq. We should not. This should not be the point of our negotiations. The Prime Minister, the Iraqi Parliament, the court in Iraq, in accordance to the Iraqi constitution, they should provide the salaries to the people of Kurdistan. This is a constitutional right, and all we try to do is to reach to a point that the idea and the topic of salaries not to be any more news for the people to expect when the salaries are going to be there or not. Well, you listened to the speech, the keynote speech of the Prime Minister, that this is going to open a great door in front of Iraq, both economically and also in terms of stability. But at the same time, this road should be, in a way, this is a strategic project, let me tell you that, and this is very huge. This should combine the country, not to divide it. For us in the KRI, it's very important for us to see what's going to be the map of this road, what's going to be the road, how it's designed. We think that it should be in a way that the KRI and also the other components within Iraq, they should be involved and they should be beneficiaries of this project. These projects should be designed in a way that it combines the country and help the people feel citizen. If it is designed in a way that the KRI would be bypassed, in that case it's different. Right now, the design, I'm not sure about it, but we are in negotiation about this and dialogue about this, that the road should be designed in a way that the KRI is also a beneficiary. What is related to Turkey? Turkey is ready for this, and the side which is related about the design of the road, Turkey and their status is clear. Turkey says this is your internal issue, please solve it within your framework. We hope that in Baghdad they look into this project this way, that how can we make this project in a way that it will combine the country, and the road is gonna the road path is gonna be in a way that everybody is gonna be beneficiary. Talking about the US and return of Trump, what can the Kurds do, and also Shiites and Sunnis, to work together that Iraq is going to be far from the... Well, there are two topics in this. When we look into the developments in the region, we see that Iraq and the Prime Minister of Iraq have been very wise in dealing with the situation in the Middle East. They have protected Iraq from the fire which we see in the Middle East region. They have kept Iraq safe. What we think is that Iraq should be far away from the fire in the Middle East. Iraq have had a lot of problems since 2003. Mr. Speaker spoke about the stages, and now we are on the edge of starting to take a rest, and so that the economy of the country can develop. So It's not the time for Iraq to be dragged into regional conflicts. So this is number one. Number two, the militia groups within Iraq, they all should go under the control of the government. It's not acceptable to have militant groups in Iraq to conduct things which gonna lead to issues for the government. So if such things happens, we will all suffer from the results. When we saw Syria, when the Iraqi prime minister decided not to for the Iraqi armed groups to approach Syria, this was a very wise decision. It kept Iraq safe. The only way we can keep Iraq safe is to keep it far away from these conflicts within the area. We should be the center to help everyone, not to be part of the conflict. Otherwise, Iraq is gonna suffer. Well, I can speak in this way. This process is a very serious process. The process in Turkey, it is very serious. Turkey launched this, and you saw who has been very insisting on this was Devlet Bahçeli. Right now he is in hospital. We all hope all the best for him, and so in the case we pray that he will be healthy. So the process is a very serious process, and this is not a tactique. What is our role? We help. We do not intervene in the internal issues of Turkey. What we do is how we can play a role that we can facilitate the resolution of this problem. What we know is there is no way with armed with weapons this could not be solved. Any call from Mr. Ocalan for disarm, this will be a launch for resolution of the problem. It's gonna take a long time. It's not gonna be overnight, but it's sure that we are expecting such a call from Öcalan that it's going to be a call to peace. I hope that the PKK and also other political parties will welcome this call from Mr. Öcalan and to start a new era of political solution in Turkey which will benefit Kurds and Turks and all other components in Turkey. This is what we expect. Our role, we have played a role in this, and right now also we have a role that we have made sure for both sides that the KRI is ready to play any role which has an impact to bring these two sides closer to be there. The message, what they said was this. They said President Öcalan asked us to visit the KRI, and this is the message of peace that they want to convey. He wants to convey. He wants to declare his call as soon as possible, asking the PKK to disarm and to start negotiations. We welcome this, and we told them that as a KRI, we are already ready to provide any assistance we can provide. That was the message. Yes, it's been discussed. We cannot tell you everything about the discussions, but yes, the first thing is what is important. If PKK is going to welcome the call or not, then in this case, if they accept the call, then they should hold a conference and they should declare their acceptance. And then how the process is going to start, these are some details. That details, we told them that we are ready to facilitate, but the details until now is not clear. We are still waiting for the first step to be taken and how the PKK is going to deal with the call by Mr. Öcalan. In my opinion, in a process, yes, yes. Let's be frank. Let's be frank. What we have in Iraq, you cannot have the same model in Turkey or in Iran. These are different countries, but of course, there is something. This is a process which is very slow. This process cannot be fast. We should be patient and we should follow a strategy in a long term, and we should sustain the negotiations and the dialogue. In many times, we are a bit impatient. We always say nothing is done. Well, this is a very complicated process. This issue was not come here within a night, and you cannot solve it overnight. We think that the process right now, which has been launched, is in the beneficiary of Turkey, of the Kurds, and everyone. In the first days in Syria, we were very concerned about how we can protect the Kurds in Aleppo. And in this topic, Turkey played a huge role. And Turkey's role was important. And we thank Turkey, who coordinated with us, and they did whatever they could do, especially in the first 2-3 days. We were very concerned with the 3 neighborhoods in Aleppo where the Kurds live. Turkey, the president of Turkey, and other officials in Turkey, they helped us a lot, so that there will not be any conflicts in these areas. Of course, it was initiated by our side because this is our responsibility. It's our responsibility to protect them, and that's why we initiated this. And we thank Turkey. And we will continue to support our brothers in Syria, our Kurdish brothers in Syria. And the KRI leadership, not only me, but all other parties, and also the KRI leadership, what we do is how we can help and assist our brothers in Syria And our message to our brothers in Syria is this: you should be part of the political process in Syria. You should not wait for invitation. You should go to Damascus by yourselves, and you should participate in the political process in Syria. Kurds should participate in the political process in Syria. What happened in Syria, it was not a surprise for us. It was a surprise for Ahmad Sharh himself as well. I don't think he expected that in a such easy way. This was not a planned or plotted thing. This was that. This was something which happened in real, and no one expected this. So maybe they had a small idea for an operation in Aleppo, but later everything happened and they came to Damascus. It is the reality. When you look at the past of this group, their past is like so you're not sure about what they say. But when you look at to the messages they provide after seizing the power in Damascus, we see that all of their messages are positive, and they say we would like to solve the problems of Syria. So if they actually their policies is to solve the problems in Syria, then we all should help them, all the parties. On the other hand, we are concerned. We are concerned that they want a central system in Syria. What they are looking for, like that centralism, that's not gonna work. Let me tell you, Syria is a multicultural, multinational country. So you should take into consideration everyone in Syria. If you do not do this, then it's not gonna work. It's not gonna work. So we hope that this topic, look, it's a two-sided topic. We tried our best to protect the Kurds. We were successful in this to a good extent. Now what we can do to help the political process. If your question is, are we still part of this negotiation? Yes, we are part of this negotiation, that we are trying our best with all parties. And our objective is to get them in a resolution or in a solution within the framework of Syria, that we don't we are not saying that we copy our what we have in Iraq to Syria. It's not possible. We understand that, but what we are negotiating for is that a process should start, and all of the components of Syria should feel themselves as part of this process. This is going to be a huge success for Syria, and also it's going to be a great chance for all of the Syrians, because they have suffered a lot and they deserve a better life from now on. Don't do the way Muhammad Ihsan did. A question about Rojava and Syria. You spoke also about Turkey and the changes in Turkey. And also the Iraqi parliament speaker, he spoke about a united Iraq. Right now what I feel is, you in the Middle East, you have a voice and you have a position. Trump, who is right now the president of the US, he says I'm very powerful. The power of Trump, in most cases, I see that I see some sort of connection between and communication between you and Trump. You are friendly and he is friendly with you. You smile, and also the president of France, he is also helping and he wants to solve these problems. My question is, in this Middle East, it's about to happen. A change is about to happen in the Middle East. We see in Gaza, in Hamas, and also in other areas. We see that Israel, and there is a huge change. We in the KRI, which is a very secure and safe region, we have become the center of the communication between the parties. So here is the question. What's going to be the future of KRI? This is question number one. Question number two, you spoke about the Kurds in Turkey, and you said that the idea was launched by Devlet Bahçeli. When I follow, I don't see any enthusiasm from Erdogan and the ministers. They don't say that they are going to amend the constitution or provide the rights to the Kurds, and mentioning about the population of Kurds in Turkey. I'm not sure if this is a technique for them to disarm PKK. She opened a very important topic. I have to speak about this. Thank you very much, Doctor. Well, the Kurdistan region and its policy is part of Iraq's policy. The decisions we make in KRI is within the framework of the decisions made in Iraq. We are not member of the United Nations. We are part of Iraq, and within this framework, our policy and strategy is to keep Iraq and KRI from safe from the conflicts in the Middle East. Well, this is number one. Number two, West, we have very good friendship with Macron, with President Trump, and we had a very good meeting. But it's very early to see what's going to be the U.S. policy. Uh, but what is certain that the KRI's decisions are within the framework of Iraq. The second one related to the changes in Lebanon, in Israel, and other areas. I see that I see that Hamas has been uh, weakened. Yes, but this issue is not issue of Hamas. This is an issue of a nation, and you cannot solve a problem with this. We have suffered from this. We are Kurds. We know that. We know that they have done a lot against us. They destroyed our villages. They used chemical weapons against us. But they could not destroy us. We still alive, and the Palestinians are also alive, and you cannot destroy them. That's the point. It's not possible to destroy the Palestinians. Maybe a military success has been achieved by Israel, but 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 if they continue in military solution option, it's not gonna work. It's not gonna be in favor of anyone. This is my idea. And what we are going to do, what we will continue, is to keep Iraq and the KRI from these conflicts. So I would like to also mention that I have to thank the Iraqi Prime Minister as the Commander-in-Chief and also as the Prime Minister, that he have done the best he could do. Rahman Rahman Gharib from Metro is asking a question. The question is about a recent statement by the PUK president who suggests a united list for the Kurds in the Iraqi elections. What the president of Kurdistan think about this? The question, the second question, is about the freedom of journalists and uh, uh, the violations against the journalists in Kurdistan. So the question is about how the president can help with this. Question 3 is about the teachers who have done demonstrations. They say that nobody is listening to us and nobody is answering us. We also ask for your help with this. Kag Rahman, what was the first question? You made me forget all of the questions. Well, Kag Baffle's statement, what he mentioned, it's the first time we hear something like this, but we think that this is a very positive statement. Of course, this needs a decision by all the political parties, but as if we see this statement by Kag Baffle as an initiative, this is a very good initiative. This is my personal view, but as KDP or the other parties, have we discussed this? No, not yet, but in principle, we welcome this statement by Kak Bafel. So basically, the unification of the Kurds will bring more benefits for the Kurds, and if the Kurds are divided, so the others could seize that opportunity and play with them, with the Kurds. This is clear. The second question related to the journalists. You can also mention that the situation right now is better than before. You should also mention that the situation of journalists is now better a little bit. And we try our best to make it even better. Well, the definition of the KRI is that we are a democratic region. In Kurdistan, everyone should be free to express themselves. This is how Kurdistan is respected. This is a parameter. I personally support that the journalists should be free within the framework of law and the regulations of the KRI, but in principle, it's clear that the journalists should be free in expression. And in Kurdistan, when we have government, there should be opposition as well, because they complete each other. It's clear that whenever we have an active opposition in the parliament, they have had impact. That's how democracy works. Of course, you cannot compare our democracy to the Western democracy, but the question is, are we improving? Yes, the answer is yes, we are improving. Do not forget that in the election day, there were two huge rallies in Erbil. One day before the election, one side was PUK, they brought together all of their members and voters, and the KDP at the same time. And you saw that the KRI people have understood democracy. We should thank the people of Kurdistan. You remember the other elections, we had a lot of problems, but this time, in the same day in Erbil, there were two rallies and everything was fine. Democracy is not something that could be given to you as a gift. It's a continuous process of life. So we should, it's going to take time. So we all should be patient, and we will reach to the final day. So about related to the teachers, and so my first thing to say is, in principle, the teachers of Kurdistan, it's their right to ask for their rights. But let me ask the question in this way. Let me tell you this. I listened to them. I also conveyed a message to them because I know that the situation, especially of those who boycotted eating, I asked them, I told them that your message is received and I want you to take care of your health. But let me tell you, I've been a long time as a prime minister. So I stayed as a prime minister for a long time. Someone from Suleimani told me that you have been prime minister more than Nouri Saeed. He was from Suleimani. Just let me ask you this question. Is there any prime minister in the world, if the government has money in the bank and he refuses to pay the salaries? There's no one. Of course, there's a problem, and now we are trying to solve them. But this is the reality. The reality is that the what when as we are trying, we are very serious to solve this problem, and I want you to believe in that. The KRI has been very transparent with Baghdad. The KRI. No, it's not like the KRI has not uh, take the responsibility. Yes, the KRI has taken the responsibility, as has been very transparent. What I can say that is we owe to our people in Kurdistan region, and we should thank them because they have been very patient with us, because they have understood and they our situation and the problem in between Baghdad and Erbil, and this is something to be considered and to be thanked for. And hopefully, with resuming the oil exports and with the resolution or the ruling by the Supreme Federal Court and also by the inventors of the Iraqi parliament, and also with the help by the Iraqi Prime Minister, we hope that this problem will be solved for once and all. Here is a question from a participant from Iran. So a summary of the question is that do you expect any process of peace process between the Iranian Kurdish parties with Tehran, and can the KRI play a role in this as mediator? Thank you very much. The first part which you mentioned about President Barzani, he is our president. He is our Masoud Barzani is our president and will stay like this. So I would like to welcome you from Tehran. And related to our relations with Islamic Republic of Iran, first of all, the relation between the Iran, the Islamic Republic of Iran, we have a historical and cultural connection and historical relation with Iran. We have always tried our best to keep our connections with Iran in the best manner, and it's in good situation right now. It's true that we have went through difficulties, but when last year I visited Iran and I met the Iranian officials, especially the Supreme leader Ayatollah Khamenei when I met him. So we started a new era. We launched a new era of relations between the KRI within the framework of Iraq with Iran. The president of Iran visited the KRI, and in Erbil, he spoke in Kurdish. His Kurdish is better than his Persian. And I told him that when you speak Persian, you have an accent, but when you speak Kurdish, you don't have an accent. So these visits were very important. In principle number one, the KRI is not source of threat to any neighbor and will not let the land of Kurdistan become threat to Iran. There are some security issues that we have a common committee between Iran, Baghdad, and Erbil to solve the security issues. The second part, which you asked, let me say this. We are ready to support any solution, but this is an internal issue of that country. We do not want to intervene in the internal issue of Iran. This is their internal issue. But if the question is that if someone asks us to play a role in this, yes, we do. But ourselves, we would not intervene in the internal issues of any country, of neighboring country. Our responsibility as the KRI, our responsibility is in the framework of Iraq, and we can play our role in this. But using our position as the Kurdistan region of Iraq, and I underline the Iraq, if we can be helpful to our brothers in any other place, we are ready and to take care of that responsibility. Thank you very much. I would like to thank the president, Mr. President of Iraq, who came to Erbil and sit down here, and also very thank to the Iraqi speaker, Doctor, who is here and waiting, and who accepted my words. Thank you very much.